Memes, jokes, and humor. It's a huge topic for anyone to pick out. Some go over our heads, some humors are so dark that they are darker than the black hole. Let's face it, without laughter, we'd all be sitting in a cave crying. From ancient fart jokes to internet memes, humor has been the one thing keeping humanity, well, human. Today, we're going on a hilarious journey through time. So grab your popcorn, grab your favorite meme, and let's dive into the ridiculous history of humor and pray to whoever's up there that I don't get demonetized. Let's go way back to ancient times, before TikTok, before YouTube, and way before your dad jokes. Turns out that humor is as old as humanity itself. And guess what? The first joke ever recorded was a fart joke. Yeah, we've been cracking up at bodily functions for 4,000 years. I don't know what this is funny about, but back then, it was like the main thing that kept them entertained besides stabbing or unaliving. Turns out, toilet humor has always been highbrow. Ancient Sumerians, making history and ripping one. What a time to be alive. As cavemen are cavemen, just like how men will always be boys. It was pretty much passed down from father to father until the Romans busted down the wall. Fast forward to the Greeks and Romans, where humor took a step up. Or maybe it did a slick back, I have no clue. Ancient playwrights like Aristophanes thought,
"Yo, let's do something not related to the calendar and make fun of our gods."
And when their gods are like Zeus, you know they were more sassy than your loud neighbor. Imagine roasting Zeus with your homies. That's ancient stand-up somehow. It's like a mic drop, except instead of a microphone, it was probably like a scroll or something. That's not the point here. And then came the Romans, who gave us a masterclass in slapstick. Whether it was watching people trip over sandals or someone getting hit in the face with something on the floor, the Romans knew that watching physical pain and suffering of others is the best comedy. Pretty much created the OG version of the Three Stooges, only with more togas and fewer health and safety regulations. Ah, the Middle Ages, a time of knights, castles, and people barely bathing. But even in these dark times, humor was craving. Enter the court jester, part comedian, part therapist anyone, and part life insurance policy. I mean, if you could make the king laugh, you might get your body in one piece.
Oh shit, he said it.
He said it.
He said it. He said it. He said it. He said it. He said it. He said it.
Jesters were the original no-filter comedians. Imagine doing a roast of the king in front of his face. It's like Jeff Ross, but with a sword hanging over your head, literally. These guys mastered sarcasm and slapstick while simultaneously dodging death like me with responsibility. As we step into the Renaissance, humor got a bit more nerdy. But don't worry, people were still laughing at the same goofy stuff, just now with more wigs and tights involved. Shakespeare was like, "I'm gonna write the most beautiful poetic lines about love and destiny, and then I'm gonna make someone fall in the mud." That's what we call balance, folks. Also, I would also like to give a shout out to Shakespeare, since he took roasting to the next level. Roasting people with language that's barely used today. Humor was used to poke fun at social homies, class structures, and the human condition. But deep down, they were still laughing at clumsy fools and classified jokes. Then came the 20th century, and humor hit the big screen. Silent films introduced slapstick comedy that was all about physical gags. No words, no problem. A good fall, or a pie in the face, that's universal. And this was the century where the first sign of memes came from. 1921, the first meme ever discovered was from The Judge. It was like those expectation and reality kind of memes. But memes were not seen trending till the late 1990s. But before this period, people like Charlie Chaplin, Mabel Normand, Buster Keaton, Harold Lloyd were on the rise. Since back then TV didn't support sound and everything was in black and white, this fitted so perfectly with people who could communicate with minimal voices. During this time, dark humor also was on the rise. In the decade when racism was at its peak, these comedians didn't just tell jokes. They used humor to question society, confront uncomfortable truths, and of course, make us laugh till we cried. And now here we are, the meme age, where humor has evolved into, well, this. Memes have taken over the world, and honestly, who's mad about it? They're fast, they're funny, and they sum up our collective existential crisis in 10 seconds or less. Some of us get the news using memes since sometimes the news is boring. But memes started off as images and then quickly evolved into musical or video related. Later, those memes turned into mostly dark humor. If you have been living like Patrick from SpongeBob SquarePants under a rock, dark humor is humor that you should not be laughing at. I mean mostly popular for the male side, but who am I to assume Memes come in all kinds of forms. Funny, rage bait, brain rot, and even parody. Memes help us cope and relate to each other as a living. Some people live off from making people laugh, which is both cool and difficult. But the history of humor is really as long, just like my